I think it was around May time, I had the conversation of, Ben, you're now in charge of AI. So my first step was obviously to really understand what that actually meant. So, if we were going to put in an AI strategy, what would we actually need? What sort of kind of framework do we need? What resources do we need? What did it actually mean? So I think we sat down very early and you demonstrated a process that you have. From my point of view, as a non-AI coder, I suppose, seeing that process in front of me actually made me believe that actually I had the majority of those skills. And that was like a real watershed moment for me. For the benefit of the listeners, would you be able to go through that, and maybe not in each individual step, but that kind of...
And before we go into that, just one thing to say, AI is going to bring not just efficiencies, it's going to completely transform work as we know it. So it'll be in every system, and it'll just be kind of, you're building a business not to embrace AI, but to be ready for AI and to adapt and to evolve to AI. So you need to cover quite a few different stages. The first is the strategy. So you might want to do AI, or your board's asked you to do AI, or your managing director's asked you to do AI, but you've got to then ask back to those 4Fs, why are you doing it? And then where does it actually fit into the strategy? And the answer is it fits everywhere, because as I say, it's going to fundamentally change.
I think that's what I certainly saw. You can apply that thinking for every element of the business.
Exactly. So if you have that strategic view that says, well, this is how it might change the business, improve processes, change how people work and change how you serve customers, is first and foremost to have that agreement at the top. So, is the board involved? Are they supporting, and have they given you sponsorship to do this? The second area then is it is going to change every single thing we do. So have we got the process understanding? And that for me is fundamentally the most important part of this, because AI is incredible, but it's also quite basic, and it is going to be in those nuts and bolts, day-to-day steps and processes within organizations, in the detail, where it's going to bring those efficiencies. It's going to be quicker than us, and it's going to do the mundane and the repetitive and leave us to do the interesting stuff and the value add. So having that kind of process acceptance and deep understanding, which is where your skills are incredible. You understand every process and you think of how it's going to improve, or where you can see the opportunities. The third area really that the process really delves into and focuses for some time is on the people. This is going to completely transform the future of work, as I keep repeating, and in turn that's going to impact people. It's not quite going to be the doomsday scenario that most make out, or the headlines of hype that we see.
I mean, we survived Y2K, didn't we?
Exactly, GDPR, Y2K, it's not our first rodeo. Here we are again, it's another change. But having the people understand what it is, understand what it's capable of, and ultimately what it's not capable of, where its limits are, and then feeding back to that strategic piece where you're going to use it. Because again, there's this kind of fear factor that it's going to take over the jobs and everyone's going to be redundant. It's far from. There's going to be lots of efficiencies that make us smarter and work better, but it's not going to replace us. We are human, and our value is very unique. AI is an incredible calculator, and we've got to respectfully treat it as that. And in terms of the people, tell them that, detail what it's capable of, educate them onto its limits, and tell them where they're going to be valuable. It's going to improve. It's to the mill analogy again. A family of 12 running around a very dangerous machine in a mill in the 1800s, replaced by one guy working safer. Similar thing here. Jobs will improve. They'll be more interesting. They'll be more valuable. It will be a positive impact long term on the future of work. And then the final area is risk. We assume and hear the headlines that AI is going to do this and do that and do the other. I get back to that point. It's still a calculator. It's a calculator that with new technology now guesses and now predicts, but it's stressed those two words. It's making predictions and guessing in certain cases. Businesses can't manage that. So, for a kid cheating at homework, it might be okay. But for a business that has corporate customer data and is in a regulated environment, we cannot take that risk. And again, not our first rodeo. We've been through this before with GDPR and Y2K and various other aspects. And we ultimately haven't built businesses that, are going to compromise any customer information. So, risk, security, governance, make sure that what you are proposing to do is possible technically, and then reasonably, safely, with the right due diligence and the right governance in place. If you go through that process and the risk is there, cancel. Just abort at that point and go back and look at other ideas. But, again, it's limited, it's incredible, but it's manageable as well.